This episode of Teen Mom 2 starts off with Janelle and her makeup company, JE Cosmetics. Seems like everyone is doing a makeup company nowadays, some better than others. Hers actually hasn't been mentioned for a while in real time, but when this episode was filmed, it was just getting started. The first thing the makeup artists, and I use that term loosely, bring up is the elephant in the room, Janelle's old eyebrows. They also talk about how far she has come as a person and how mature she is now. But let's be real here, the only improvement we've seen from Janelle the past 9 years is her eyebrows. David is with her, of course, and he says, "Is there going to be literature in this makeup kit?" David don't seem like much for reading and writing, but the artists agree to put some sort of QR code for a tutorial with the makeup. Anyway, they're going to make the makeup and then mail it to Janelle for approval. Yeah, Janelle isn't exactly in the lab making chemicals here, but neither is Kylie or any of them. Leah talks to her friend Ashton about how she is concerned with the people Gracie is hanging out with at school. She's been pushing boundaries on rules lately, so Leah is taking her to therapy. Kale says nothing is going on with her and Dom. They just hang out. Kale says she jumped from relationship to relationship quickly in the past, and she's enjoying being single now. Lincoln's birthday is coming up, and she decided to have separate parties for Lincoln because of Brianna trying to come to the party. At Kale's party for Lincoln, it's a small gathering at her house, and everyone has a good drama-free time. As for Javi's upcoming party for Lincoln, Kale knows Brianna will go whether she likes it or not, so she isn't going. She keeps bringing up Chris and saying Javi would freak out if she brought Chris. It sure seems like Kale brings up Chris a lot when literally nobody is talking about him in the conversation, which is interesting. She seems a little obsessed. The situation would also be a little different because, despite how Kale would have it in her fantasy land, the two are not currently in a relationship, as Brianna and Javi were at the time of filming. Brianna goes out to eat with Brittany and says she had a good time with Javi. She finally admits that they are officially together now as a couple. Javi invites her to Delaware for Lincoln's party and to meet his family. Surprisingly, Brianna planned a lot of this party and even made corny matching t-shirts for everyone. Javi still lives with his parents and apparently isn't so good at planning this sort of thing on his own. Brianna also says she wants to squash the beef with Kale. Janelle's excited to create makeup tutorials for her makeup line. Why? You already have some perfectly good ones, Janelle. Who could forget this makeup guru icon? Good stuff. In other news, Janelle changed her Facebook bio to her promotional stuff and took off the stuff about David and the pictures of him. She says it's for her brand, but people are speculating they split up. The news has even reached Nathan, who sends a long text to Janelle asking if she's okay, because that is his utmost priority, with a P, his word, not mine. He also, strangely enough, calls her and David a good couple despite lambasting them at the reunion. Janelle wonders why this whole text is asking about her and not Kaiser. The producer asks if David is jealous, but she says no, he's infuriated. Scary. Brianna reached out to Kale over a group text asking if they can start over and try to get along. Kale says no and is basically a massive bitch about it, saying Brianna can have her sloppy seconds. And no, she doesn't want to talk to her. Brianna gives up on the 2-minute nice guy act and tells Kale to suck her dick. Leah and Gracie are heading to therapy. While driving, Leah tells Gracie to use I feel statements to talk about her feelings toward therapy. Gracie is not feeling this corny let's talk about our feelings BS and has more of a sense of humor than Leah. She says she feels weird and just makes silly noises and faces the whole time. Leah is mad that she's acting immature, but I think she just might be nervous about it and not want to discuss her feelings on camera. Chelsea's friend, Chelsea Grace, goes with Chelsea to court. There's a small glimpse of Adam going in as well. The cameras don't capture court, but afterwards, Chelsea calls her dad and says they agreed to everything she asked for, the name change and the visitation center. Adam's parents' visitation is now limited to 1 weekend a month with Aubrey that Adam cannot be present for. Adam's mom tried to confront Chelsea before court and told her to grow up. Chelsea just said she didn't feel comfortable talking to her and she felt she was being mean. She cries tears of happiness now and says she can't wait to get Aubrey a cake to celebrate the name change. Chelsea Grace says Chelsea should be happy she doesn't have to share Aubrey anymore. Brianna flies to Delaware and meets Javi's family. She brought shirts and happily greets everybody. All of a sudden, the producer comes in and says they can no longer film Lincoln's party because Kale does not give permission for Lincoln to film at the party place. Brianna doesn't really think it's a big deal, but Javi gets those huge eyes again and is flipping out. Every time Javi loses that sweet camera time, he loses a little of his sanity too. Brianna is unfazed, but Javi is mad and says Kale is doing this out of spite. David was not happy about that text and got in a heated argument with Nathan, calling him a fag boy, so when it's time to exchange Kaiser, they send David's mom to get him instead. Nathan immediately barrages David's mom about things that David did. I almost feel bad for her because she starts crying and just saying she's not involved, avoiding confrontation, but then you have to remember that this woman did raise David. Nathan accuses David of doing drugs, and his girlfriend Ashley, who's also there, says that David and Janelle should be there, not David's mom. Nathan then goes on a surprisingly progressive rant about how David shouldn't be using homophobic insults. I don't think the LGBT community really wants Nathan and Farrah as its advocates, but at least he seems less ignorant than David. Back on the land, David and Janelle continue to talk about it. David said he doesn't care about the situation, right before he says he wants to break Nathan's face. He says Nathan is like a female who likes drama, and surprisingly his mom catches that and says some guys like drama too. Like, David himself. Through this whole thing, by the way, Janelle is wearing a shirt that says Unicorn Mom, which is true. Her mothering skills are much like unicorns. Non-existent. Gracie's therapy session went well. Leah talks to Corey about it and says she's happy Gracie seems to be aware of her bad behavior and wants to change it. She struggles because she doesn't want Gracie to feel like they're paying more attention to Allie because of her condition. She feels like Gracie has a hard time accepting the disability of her twin because twins are usually very similar and they're so different. Javi and Kale called each other off camera to talk about the party and apparently ended up just cursing each other out over it, and it ended with Javi hanging up. Javi says the two of them only got along in the past because no line was drawn in the relationship. Brianna says there better be a line now or she'll beat his ass. And this episode ends with Chelsea getting Aubrey a cake to celebrate her last name being changed. That's all for this episode of Teen Mom 2. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of Kale forbidding cameras at Lincoln's party and Nathan and David's argument. And make sure to subscribe for Teen Mom recaps every week.